Here's the host of It's a Miracle, Roma Downey.
Welcome to our show, stories of ordinary people experiencing the miraculous. How much cold can one person endure? Well, if you're Michelle Heilman of Wallowa, Oregon, you can live through unbelievably frigid conditions. But as you're about to see, Michelle discovered a most amazing source of heat just after she put her hands together and prayed for a miracle. With elk season in full swing, Michelle Heilman and her father Benny headed out to enjoy a day of hunting.
I've been elk hunting and deer hunting since I was about 17. That's about 23 years.
We go hunting every year, usually starting with deer season in September, and then elk season, which comes a month later.
Sighting elk, Michelle was anxious to leave the truck and track them.
Normally when we went out hunting, I would not separate from my father. This time I did, though. Dad dropped me off, gave me a direction that I was supposed to go, and said don't go past the fence and don't cross the road, and I did all of the above and went down a draw and just kept going.
Benny waited for his daughter at their agreed meeting place, his concern mounted with each passing hour.
I realized that she was probably in trouble probably 2 hours after she had left the pickup. I called the sheriff's office, got the dispatcher, and she had the emergency management officer call me back within just a very few minutes.
Michelle's mother, Jan, could not believe the news when Benny told her.
I was panic-stricken, as any mother would be. And then I calmed down and realized that she had been taught to survive in the wilderness.
Wallowa Rescue Coordinator and Deputy Matthew Marmer immediately launched a search party.
The game plan to find Michelle was pretty much finding out where she had last been seen, where she was let off, try to begin developing a direction of travel. We're looking at this area here initially, put it up through here.
Meanwhile, the elk had led Michelle deep into a canyon. With the sun setting, she realized she would have to spend the night alone.
I didn't want to take any chance of not finding my way up or running into bear, cougar, and so I just made myself a little hole and dug in for the night.
After sunrise, Michelle attempted to retrace her steps. What happened next dashed her hopes of climbing out of the canyon that morning.
I maybe went 50 feet, and I just fell into a hole, right up past my knee. The pain just shooting through. I rode on a stick in case I wasn't found in a timely manner, so to speak. Dear Dad, it wasn't your fault. I felt that I had gone into the hole and I just knew he was going to be blaming himself.
Meanwhile, the search continued. Wallowa Sheriff Fred Steen was deeply worried by the evening's weather forecast.
The chances for survival in these extreme weather conditions were very minimal. We were very concerned about finding Michelle alive.
We can kind of work our way north, and it's a place to start anyway.
Okay.
As the sun set on her second night and temperatures dropped below zero, Michelle turned to prayer.
I told God that I needed a lot of help because I was really hurting. Told him if there was anything he could do, I needed it now more than any other time in my life.
It was then that Michelle received a miraculous visit.
I saw two of the most brilliant personages in the shape of two men, one standing on my left shoulder, and the other one towards the foot of me. And the looks on their face was just so calming, just very serene. It was just awesome.
The next morning, the rescue party, now over 100 strong, continued scouring the area.
We found no tracks, we found no clothing, we didn't find her gun, nothing.
Jan and Benny feared the worst.
I ask my Heavenly Father that if something had happened to Michelle or if she was dying, I had prayed that he would be with her and comfort her in her final hours and that she would not suffer.
Night after night, Michelle's guardian angels were her only hope for surviving the frigid nights.
There they were, in the same beautiful color glow that they had been. And I was warm, felt at peace.
An unbelievable 7 nights had now passed, but close friends of the Heilmans, Bill Lear and Marilyn Seaford, refused to give up the search.
And I think that the hope that she would be alive was what kept us going.
Miraculously, their determination would pay off.
I hollered down in the bottom of the canyon. She responded. She hollered back, over here. I went up to her and found her sitting there on the creek bed. She was doing good. She was in good spirits.
It was absolutely a miracle that she was found alive.
I remember falling to the ground and thanking our Heavenly Father with all my heart and soul.
In pain and paralyzed, she still had not lost her trademark sense of humor.
When I got to her, Michelle looked at me. And she said, "I'm right beside the fence, Dad."
In our experience for Wallowa County, Michelle is the person who has survived the longest number of days out in the elements.
The extent of Michelle's injuries on her legs were too great. Unfortunately, shortly after her rescue, Michelle's legs were amputated.
You'd like to feel the sand between your toes if you were to go to the coast or something, and that's not there. But you adapt, and you just go from there. You still got everything else. There's so much that you can do.
Michelle's will and spirit carried her for 8 days in the wilderness, and her angels guarded her for 7 nights. Now, with a new lease on life, Michelle is living every day to the fullest.
Don't let the little things go unnoticed, and you enjoy everything around you that you took for granted before. I think it was a miracle because I'm here now. I survived the 7 nights and 8 days of below 0 weather. I was kept warm, comfortable. There's no other way of explaining it. The good Lord just watched out for me.